My name is Maria. I am 24 years old. I live in New York. I work as a receptionist at a big company. My boss, Mr. Richard, is 34 years old. He is a kind and a successful man. Everyone respects him. Richard and I have known each other for a long time. We were neighbors when I was younger. When I needed a job 3 years ago, Richard offered me this position. I was grateful this job paid well. It helped me save money. I was planning my wedding to Jordan, my college sweetheart, the man I loved. We were getting married in 2 months. I worked overtime every week to save extra money for the wedding. Richard was always kind to me. He was married to a woman named Scarlett. Everyone knew Scarlett could not have children, but they seemed happy together. Then one day, everything changed. Richard started coming to work with red eyes. He barely spoke to anyone. He locked himself in his office for hours. I was worried about him, but I did not ask questions. He was my boss. It was not my place. That Friday was supposed to be my day off, but I chose to work instead. I needed the overtime money. Everyone else left the office. I stayed late finishing paperwork. At 9 p.m., I was packing my bag to leave. Then my phone rang. It was Richard. He asked me to come to his office. He said it was important. My heart beat fast. I did not know what he wanted. I was alone in the building with him. That made me nervous, but he was my boss. I had to go. When I walked into his office, Richard was sitting on the floor. His eyes were red. He had been crying. I was shocked. I had never seen him like this. I asked if he was okay. Richard looked at me and fell to his knees. He grabbed my legs. I told him to get up. I tried to pull away, but he held on tight. When I got closer, I smelled whiskey. He was drunk. Richard said I was the only woman who could save him. He said the world was driving him crazy. He said his wife could not have children. He could not leave her, but he needed a child. He needed an heir. Then Richard said something that shocked me. He said he wanted me to carry his child. He said he would give me anything I asked. I told him this was not a good time to talk. He was drunk. He was not thinking clearly. I needed to go home. I walked toward the door, but Richard stood up quickly. He grabbed my hand and locked the office door. My heart was racing. This was wrong. This was harassment. But he was my boss. He controlled my job, my income, my future. He said this was not about being drunk. This was about his life situation. Richard explained that his family company needed an heir. If he did not have a child, soon his inheritance would go to his brother's children. Everything he worked for would be lost. He said I was the only woman he could ask. He said he would give me land, money. I would never have to work again in my life. All I had to do was carry his child for 9 months, then give the baby to him. I sat there frozen. I did not know what to say, but the offer was also very compelling. Jordan and I could start our marriage without any money problems. I went home in shock. I could not sleep that night. I kept thinking about Richard's offer. The next morning, I told Jordan everything. Jordan was angry, very angry. He said we were not even married yet, and I was thinking about carrying someone else's child. It was crazy, disgusting. But I explained the benefits. I said we would never struggle financially. We could have the wedding of our dreams. Jordan said no. He would not let his future wife carry another man's child. But I kept talking. I kept explaining. Finally, after hours of arguing, Jordan agreed. I went to Richard the next Monday. I told him I would do it. Richard agreed immediately. He thanked me. He said I was saving his life. 2 weeks later, we did the clinical procedure. Soon I was pregnant. Richard moved me to a beautiful house. He said I needed to be comfortable. He hired people to take care of me. At the office, people started whispering. They did not understand why I was getting special treatment. They were jealous. Some people gossiped. They said I was carrying the boss's child. They said I was having an affair with Richard. Richard visited me every day. He brought me food, vitamins, books. He asked how I was feeling. He made sure I had everything I needed. Sometimes he would touch my belly gently. He would say I was giving him the greatest gift of his life. But Jordan began to notice every time Richard visited. Jordan would get quiet and angry. He would leave the room. He would not talk to me for hours. I told Jordan not to worry, but Jordan was suffering. I could see it in his eyes. 7 months into my pregnancy, Jordan came to me. He said he could not bear to look at me carrying another man's child. He said watching Richard take care of me was torture. He said he could not continue our relationship anymore. Jordan walked out of the door. He was gone. I felt sharp pain in my stomach immediately. I could not breathe. I called for help. I tried to stand but collapsed. Richard was visiting that moment. He heard me scream. He carried me in his arms. He drove me to the hospital faster than I had ever seen anyone drive. At the hospital, doctors said I was going into premature labor. The baby was coming early. They needed to do surgery. I was terrified, but Richard held my hand the entire time. The surgery lasted 5 hours. Richard never left. When the baby was born, the doctor held up a tiny boy. Richard looked at his son and started crying. He turned to me and hugged me tightly. Then he kissed my forehead. He said I gave him the greatest gift anyone had ever given him. He was so happy. Richard called his wife Scarlett. She came to the hospital within an hour. She looked at the baby with tears in her eyes. She thanked me. She said I saved their marriage. The next week, I recovered in the hospital. Richard visited every day. He brought the baby to see me sometimes, and every time he left with the baby, I felt empty. I was alone in that hospital room. Jordan was gone. The baby was gone. My life felt meaningless. After I was discharged, I went back to the house Richard provided, but it felt cold now. One evening, I was alone thinking about my lonely life when my doorbell rang. I opened the door. It was Jordan. His eyes were red from crying. He said he tried to live without me, but life without me felt boring and empty. He said he was selfish to leave me. He said he was sorry. Jordan begged me to let him be part of my life again. He said we should forget the past and continue our life together. I looked at Jordan, the man I loved. I cried and hugged him. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.